What is going on? It's time for another episode of Damien Ruins Horror Movies. My name is Damien, and tonight's movie is Dance with the Dead from 2008. It's another prom movie for May, but first, hit that like and subscribe and share button, or those buttons. Go hit the link below to Cool Dude Inc. and go look at some shirts and go buy some. And if you want to go watch this movie first or after, you can watch it on Tubi. Tubi is a free downloadable app that does not sponsor this show. Also, if you click the link below, there's a link so you can follow me on my Facebook page where I post stuff I think is funny from time to time. Not very often, but I also post videos, so if you don't want to subscribe, but you want to know when videos are coming out, you can go there. All right, let's get started. The movie opens with there's a caretaker in a cemetery, and he hears weird sounds, so he starts prowling around, checking out the graves, the grave sites. And he snoops around, and then he gets grabbed by his throat because the dead are coming back to life. But they're coming back to life from the graves. They're breaking out of their caskets from under the ground and coming up. But if you've read the Zombie Survival Guide, you will know that they cannot come back from the dead that way. They can come back from the dead. They can't break out of their coffin. They're 6 feet under. They're not coming up through the ground. And if you haven't read this book, go get it. It's pretty good. It's written by Max Brooks, Mel Brooks' son. He also wrote World War Z. He's a big zombie guy. He's probably written some books since. I haven't checked him out in a while, but I read both of those. And next we get back to the high school, and it's time for prom. And they're having a Hawaiian hula prom. Hawaiian hula is the theme. And there's a band. It's very, it reminds me of Back to the Future when Marty's auditioning to play the dance at his school with his band, and Huey Lewis is the guy watching, one of the judges, and he's like, "Oh, I'm afraid you guys are just a little too damn loud." It's that same feeling, but this band, they're called the Quarter Punks, led by Nash, and they're playing that song, Somebody's Gonna Get Their Head Kicked In Tonight. I remember that song from high school because it was the punk band did it. I can't remember who the band was, so I was looking it up on YouTube, and I found, and I don't know if it's originally done, but there's a version by Fleetwood Mac, and I think it's before Stevie Nicks was in the band. It says it's like Fleetwood Mac, the old days. And I actually bought the song. You can get it on iTunes. You can find it on YouTube. I put a link. You can click on the link in the notes, and you can watch the video. But it's Fleetwood Mac doing kind of a bluesy cover of Somebody's Gonna Get Their Head Kicked In Tonight. It's one of those songs like Louie Louie that's just been covered a million times. Somebody wrote, I doubt Fleetwood Mac. I didn't research it that much. I doubt they originally wrote it. But their version's pretty cool. I like it. I like all the versions I've heard. I've heard like 6 different versions. But needless to say, the Quarter Punks don't get the gig. And this film, originally, when I first got Netflix, this movie came out, and I swear I started watching it, and it just was not interesting me at all. This time watching it, though, I really like this movie. And it's funny because it starts out, it kind of looks a little 80s, but it starts out with this total, like, you know, that time period, the 2000s, whatever we call them, the zeros. It feels like a regular teen movie where everybody's in high school and everything's pretty normal. Because as the viewer, we know zombies are coming. We just don't know when, and the kids are oblivious to it. It's basically just a bunch of millennials with 70s haircuts. God, I'm glad that phase is over. In the 70s, I'll give you a pass for having stupid hair, like I'm one to talk. But by the zeros, come on, have your shit together. Learn from your parents' mistakes. Jimmy is our main character, and he just can't seem to stay out of trouble. In a way, he kind of asks for it. But he gets kicked out of class, and his gym teacher is kind of a hard ass and doesn't like him. He's kind of gym teacher, typical. You know, if you're a jock, he likes you. If you're not, he doesn't. And Jimmy has a best friend, Steven. Steven has a huge crush on Gwen, a cheerleader. Steven's a nerd, though, even though he's best friends with Jimmy, and Jimmy's on the cusp. He's kind of like one of those guys that is a nerd, but he can hang outside of the nerd group too. Unlike Steven and those nerds, they run the sci-fi club, and they're just total lost cause. I mean, they're going to be everybody's bosses later, but right now they're just high school sucks. And if they want to get the girl, Tough shit. You got to wait about 15 years. But Gwen, and this is kind of weird, Gwen wants to go to prom because Gwen had a date. Her date bailed on her because he ate bad spinach, so he can't go. And so she wants to go with Nash, the lead singer of the Quarter Punks, which is kind of weird because in my day, the cheerleaders were not going after the rockers or whatever you want to call them. So she leaves Steve because Steve's like, hey, you going to the dance? She's like, I can't because my boyfriend got sick or my date got sick. So I'm going to go ask this guy. And she goes and asks Nash. And Nash is like, they won't let us play at the prom. If we can't play at the prom, we ain't going. Fuck the prom. You can come watch us play in my garage, though. And she's like, at the last minute, because Jimmy's girlfriend is like, her name is Lindsay, and she's like the vice president of the school or student council or whatever. She's in charge of setting up the prom and all the decorations, make sure everything looks cool, because it's going to happen in the high school just like proms in real life. And it's going to happen on a Friday night just like proms in real life. And kind of last minute, her and Jimmy are already planning to go. And she's like, well, are you going to bring me a corsage? He's like, no, but I got some hotel room. And she's like, just out of nowhere kind of has it. She's like, you know what? We're done. I'm not going to the prom with you. He's like, what? So you don't take anything seriously. You're not romantic. You have no direction. And everything is just a joke to you. I'm not going with you. And she gets up and leaves. And he's like, because prom's in, a couple hours. And just like that, Lindsay has a backup date. Mitch, who's like the president of the school or the student council or whatever he is. And so it's time to go to the prom. Mitch picks her up, and instead of taking her to the school, he takes her to like this, I don't know, it's like this makeout. I don't know what it is, but it's like the view is it's between the power plant and between the cemetery, where you have a good view of the city. But unbeknownst to him, the power plant is what is somehow causing the dead to come back to life right next door at the cemetery. So he's kind of trying to sweet talk Lindsay and put the moves on her. Meanwhile, the sci-fi gang is lurking around the cemetery. I don't know why they're there. They tell the caretaker they're looking for family history, graves of their grandparents or relatives. I don't know, but they're there. And so Mitch starts making out with Lindsay. And finally, she pushes him off. She's like, whoa, you're going too fast. And he's like, what? Oh, come on. But then he won't stop, so she kicks him out of the car. Then she kind of feels bad. And then all of a sudden, he gets pulled. And a bunch of zombies just rip him apart. And she's like, what the hell? So she starts the car. She goes to get out of there. And about this time, the Sci-Fi Club run into some zombies of their own. And they're like, oh, shit. And one of them, Rod, gets killed. And then they escape. And they're running. And they run into Lindsay's car. And they're like, Lindsay? She's like, nerds. So they all hop in and they hit the road. And Jimmy somehow is going to prom anyway, but he doesn't have his own car. All he has is his boss's car, which is the pizza mobile, because he delivers pizzas for a living. So he's on his way and he gets a call saying, hey, you got to deliver a pizza. And he's like, what? I'm going to prom. His boss is like, it's my car. Deliver the goddamn pizza. So he goes and he gets the pizza and he delivers it. He knocks on the door and the people inside are zombies. And this movie does kind of do this little these guys are zombies, and the person who's not a zombie can't even tell. Like there's a scene where a bunch of zombies go in the Minute Mart, and the guy in there's like, hey, make sure you buy something. Don't be eating anything. And it's the oblivious, they can't tell they're zombies. It worked in Shaun of the Dead, and it was funny, but you can't just keep using that joke. But soon he starts to realize what's going on. It's like, oh shit, what is wrong with these people? I got to get out of here. So he takes off. And he runs into Kyle because he had detention earlier, and he had it with Kyle. And Kyle is like the school bully, crazy backyard wrestler, rambunctious type, kind of loner, kind of fucks with everybody. Nobody really likes him, and nobody wants to be near him. And he's crying. So Jimmy's like, what's wrong, man? And he's like, I'll kick your ass. But then they kind of join forces. But just then, looks like just a couple of the old guys, but it's actually a couple of zombies. They hop in Jimmy's car and drive off. And it's kind of funny because it's like they immediately look like it was funnier because I thought it was two old guys that were just like, all right, we got a car, let's get the fuck out of here. But it was zombies, so it's weird. It's amazing what zombies can do in certain movies and what they can't do in other movies. But these zombies can drive, and they're fast. They were leaping out of their graves. So Kyle has a gun. It's a pistol, which is neat. But what's a pistol going to do against 1,000 zombies? How many shots you got in there? All it's going to do is make noise and bring more zombies. And they see a girl running, and Kyle's getting ready to shoot her, and Jimmy's like, no, 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 it's Gwen, the cheerleader that Steven has a crush on. And so she's like, what's going on? It's like, there's zombies. And then all of a sudden they get attacked by zombies. And there's a huge zombie brawl. It's cool and funny and all that. Once that's over, Jimmy calls Lindsay to see where she's at because he's worried. He's like, shit, this is going on. I don't know if she's at the dance. I don't know if she's dead. I don't know what her plans for the night after she ditched me. So he calls her, and now it's rescue Lindsay. She tells him where she is. And Jimmy, Kyle, and Gwen, which is actually a smart idea. They go, if you know your way around how to do it, they go underground into the sewers, and they make their way over to where Lindsay is. And one thing I like about the neighborhood where they're having that brawl at, and where they are before they go in the sewer, is it totally has this like Return of the Living Dead feel to it. Part 2, not the first one, part 2. So not as good one, but fucking hilarious one. But that neighborhood, this neighborhood kind of reminds me of that. It feels like you're in the same neighborhood. All the while, the quarter punks are in a garage jamming out. The jam session is awesome. And they take a little break, and one of the band members has been smoking so much weed. Nash is like, dude, you need to open up that garage door because you are smoking us all out, and we are trying to make songs here. So one of the guys opens the door, and there's all these zombies right outside. They're like, whoa, what is this? We got fans? And the zombies then start moving, so they start playing the music, and they realize if they play the music, it paralyzes the zombies. The zombies are hypnotized, and they don't do anything while the music's playing. So they're like, whoa, they dig our sound. Jimmy, Gwen, and Kyle get to where Lindsay's at. It's looks like an abandoned house. Well, it doesn't look abandoned. It looks like a house that nobody's home. And they go in, and they see Lindsay, and they see the sci-fi club, and Steven sees Gwen, and he's like, holy shit, yes, Gwen's here. Because he wants to take her to prom. He's got a huge crush on her. But then Jimmy starts wondering, it's like, why are you with these guys? How'd you run into these guys? Where were you? You ran into them at the school, the prom. You ran into them by the cemetery with Mitch. And he kind of finds out. I don't think he found out they made out. I think he assumes that they did, though. She's like, nothing happened. It's like, bullshit, something happened. I mean, you stopped it from escalating, but something definitely happened. Don't act like nothing happened. And then just like, oh, I got mad at you. I went on a date with another guy. Nothing happened. Let's get back together. You made out with another dude. Within an hour or two of breaking it off with him. It wasn't even officially a breakup. They soon discover that the house that they're taking refuge in right now is a funeral home. And they discover it because the bodies in the funeral home are coming back to life. What the fuck is going on in that power plant across the way? And Kyle gets bit. He's the first to go. He doesn't die instantly. He's kind of like, what do I do? Somehow they all know. Well, they don't know. But they're like, you're going to die. They don't know he's going to turn. So they're trying to console him. And he's like, hey, I'm sorry. I used to pick on you. And all this other stuff. And then he kind of fades out. Then he comes back and starts attacking. And they just kind of all just get him on the ground and just stomp the shit out of him. And they realize it's time to go. And where to go? Well, at the same time, they also realize that all the teenagers in town are at the high school, and that high school is probably infested with zombies, and they need to go down there and save them. Yep. Now, if it were me, when I was in high school, if there were zombies at the school, and I wasn't there, guess what? I'm not going to see any zombies, because I'm not going down there, because fuck those people. These guys are better than me, though, and they go down there, they're going to go save the day, because there's a hearse outside that they can all fit in, and they start driving. And then they start getting shot at, and they're like, what the hell? And like, I think their tires get shot out, so they stop, and they're like, what is it? And it's fucking PE teacher. It's the coach. He's like, what are you guys doing? They're like, we're on our way to the school. Oh, yeah? Unarmed? Yeah. He's like, follow me. And he takes them into his garage. He's got like an arsenal. So they all start arming themselves with guns and bats and whatever kind of weapons. And one of them grabs something, and the coach is like, no, don't grab that. That's C4. I got it off Craigslist. That'll blow up this whole city. We don't want to use that unless we absolutely have to. But he brings a certain amount of explosives. They go to the high school, and coach is going to they're going to split up. The kids are going to go look for other kids that they can save. Coach is going to wire the high school. Because basically they're going to treat the high school like a hive where everybody's trapped inside, and then they blow the whole fucking thing up. But at the school, it's pretty much too late. Everybody's turn. It's basically just zombies. And they're inside, and they're kind of trapped. The coach is in the ducting above, crawling through the vents, whatever they're called. And he's wiring, and that's how he's getting around without having to worry about running into zombies. He's got a little walkie-talkie so he can talk to old Jimmy. And they go into the bathroom, and they find, I don't know, like 5 or 6 kids that aren't zombies. So they look kind of like the sole survivors. So they're like, all right, you guys come with us. And then 2 of the girls are like, the sci-fi guys start hitting on them because, like, oh, these are the chicks that came into our sci-fi club meeting on accident this morning. Now they're here. Now we got them again. So now we're going to save them. They start acting like heroes. Like they know what's going on because they're nerds and they watch the right movie. So they know all the right lines to use on these girls. Like, stick with me if you want to live and all this other horse shit. And I failed to mention, they did run into the quarter punks on the way. They passed their house. So they got the quarter punks are going to meet them there. And Coach calls Jimmy on his walkie-talkie. Starts saying, all right, everything's pretty much in place. I'm almost done. All I got to do. And he's like, whoops. And I dropped the remote in the potato chip bowl. Like right in the middle of the dance where all the tables are and refreshments are. He's like, uh-oh. He's like, Jimmy, I can't go down there. I got more bombs to wire. You're going to have to do it. And Jimmy's like, what? You want me to go through all those zombies, risk my life, and get that controller? It's like, yeah, you have to. It's really important. So he's like, all right. Because at this point, Jimmy has made a turn in his life. As soon as he decided he was going to the high school, he's like, okay, we might all die, but I want to die fighting. And so he looks at the other. He's like, I have to go to the cafeteria, or I have to go to the gym floor. I gotta get the remote so we can blow this place up. Otherwise, we've done this all for nothing. So you can't do that. And he's like, I have to. So he tells the others, all right, you guys get out of here. I'm going to go get the remote. Coach is going to finish detonating this place, and then we're going to blow the shit out of it. We need everybody out, though. So they go their separate ways. Jimmy heads to the gym or wherever the prom is actually taking place. And then he hears a voice behind him, and he looks, and it's Lindsay. And she's like, I'm not going to let you go alone. And it's like, oh, Lindsay does love him. She's not a total fuck up. She was just mad at him earlier. Aww. So they go to the gym together. And there's zombies everywhere. But then the quarter punks take the show. They get to play the prom just like they wanted to. And they start playing, Shadow of the Night. We're running on the shadow of the night. Whatever. And they start playing that. And so all the zombies are they're transfixed. They're just staring at the band. And so Jimmy and Lindsay get to have their prom dance, their slow dance as they make their way and shimmy through these paralyzed zombies looking for the remote, and they almost get there. Then the song ends, and all the zombies start to go after them. They're like, oh shit. And then we switch scenes. Gwen takes Steve into the bathroom, and Steve's like, oh, all right, she's got to tell me something. He thinks she's going to profess her undying love for him, but actually she has to tell him that she has been bit right there. He's like, uh-oh. What are we going to do? He's like, you can't go with this if you're big because you're going to turn. You saw what happened to Kyle. And she's like, I know. Can you just hold me? And he's like, yeah. And then I was going to leave this part out, but I'm going to throw it in anyway because this is a spoiler. This is started out as a sad part. I was like, oh man, because they start kissing, and right as they're kissing, she turns and just bites off his bottom lip. And he's like, ah. And then it's like, oh, they're fucked. They're dead. And we go back to Lindsay and Jimmy, and they make their escape. They get the remote. They kick and fight their way out, and as they do, the band starts back up with somebody's going to get their head kicked in tonight, and they start kicking zombies in the head and playing. The jam session is awesome. Jimmy and Lindsay escape. We go back to Gwen and Steven, and they're happy. Because they're not dead. They're both zombies, but now they're two zombies in love, and they're all sweet on each other. It's kind of a romantic little happy ending for the two of them. And everybody else escapes. They meet outside by the Hummer, the coach's car. It's a Hummer. I know it's not a real military Hummer, but as far as having a vehicle that you would want in this situation, I think it's pretty perfect. And they blow up the school, and Jimmy and Lindsay get their romantic kiss in front of the big explosion, and then they hop in the Hummer and they drive. They're like, well, are we going to take out all these zombies? Coach's like, yeah, let's do it. But first, let's get some pancakes. And then the movie ends. Sequel? When is this sequel coming out? Because they totally set it up for a sequel. The Badass Award goes to the coach because he was the man with the plan who's been waiting his whole life for something like this to happen. Or maybe he's just a psychopath. It's probably a little of both, but still, it was him that saved the day. What did we learn? Survival tales. Don't build a power plant right next to a cemetery. Don't bother trying to take out a zombie horde with a pistol. Yeah, and just don't go to prom. That's it, guys, but I will see you soon.